Morning all, welcome to Football Philosophy, and it's match day morning, and massive game really for not such a massive game for United tonight, but a massive game for Ollie. It's really important for Ollie. I think that he gets a good result tonight. There's a lot of discussion in the press. Everyone's talking about Pochettino still hasn't taken a job, and has Ollie got to win these next two games. Under normal circumstances, obviously, it's an away game in Turkey tonight against, pardon my pronunciation, but Basaksehir. We're playing tonight in Istanbul. Obviously, Istanbul's normally, the fans in Istanbul are absolutely passionate. The atmosphere that they make is it's an unbelievable atmosphere over there. It's quite an intimidating place to go at any Turkish ground that I've ever been to. I'm sure it'd only be the same against Basaksehir, although I don't think we've played them before. I'm sure it'd be the same. But obviously, I think I'm right in saying there's no fans there tonight. But I know in some countries they're allowing 1,000 or two. But either way, it won't be a packed house like you would normally get with fireworks and everything going off and flares in the stand. So that situation won't be against United tonight. So it won't be as difficult a place to go to. They did mention on Sky Sports that United have lost on both their previous two visits to Turkey, obviously against different teams and obviously with fans in the ground, but still it just gives you a pointer as to what it can be like going over there. So under normal circumstances, as far as the group goes, despite the fact that these are the whipping boys, I watched them play against PSG. They weren't too bad against PSG at all. PSG ended up beating them 2-0. Leipzig beat them 2-0. One of the Leipzig players scored an absolute wonder goal in that game, which obviously sometimes doesn't happen for you. And I didn't see that game, but I watched the PSG game, and after an hour it was 0-0. And they were really, they weren't just defending, they were playing some really nice football, Basaksehir, and were right in the game. And as you was watching it in the first hour, you wouldn't really have been able to pick a winner. Obviously, you still thought PSG had come through, and they still did come through, just with them being, the big club, if you like. And that's obviously does tend to happen. But if you didn't know who the two clubs were and you watched that first hour, you wouldn't really have been able to pick which was the best team. And they ended up conceding the first goal after an hour, not through some brilliant play by PSG or some fantastic run by Mbappe like you might expect it to be, but they left Moise Kean completely unmarked in the box from a corner, and he headed home the first goal. I know that the smaller team, you might think, well, that's going to happen, but let's be honest, on another day you might not leave a player unmarked in the box. It might still have been 0-0 on another day after an hour, and they were a proper decent team, and they might well have got something out of that game, but for a little bit of slack defending. So it's not going to be an easy ride. It's a tough game. As far as the group's concerned, as I was about to say, that's what I was leading to. If under normal circumstances, we've already beaten PSG, we've already beaten Leipzig. They're the two teams that we would expect to be competing with us for the top two spots in the table. And having already beaten them, obviously we only need a point off one of them, and it'd be very difficult for whoever we get a point off for them to finish above us. So I think second spot is easily within our grasp at the moment, and especially since we've now got two games against. Sometimes there's a team in the group that you call the whipping boy, and sometimes that team concedes lots of goals. In this particular occasion, I don't think you can expect this team to concede lots of goals, although you might well expect them to end up with no points at the end of the group. But going away first, if we were to draw this game, as far as the group's concerned, we've then got Basaksehir to play at Old Trafford. Obviously, we would expect, no disrespect to them, but we would expect to beat them at Old Trafford. So a draw there tonight, I should say, wouldn't be the end of the world. A draw and then a win at home, and that'd be that more or less done and dusted. Certainly one more point would definitely do it, but probably 10 points would do it. It'd be really, really difficult for either PSG or for both of PSG and Leipzig to overtake us if they happen to draw with each other in either one of the two games. That'd be 2 points dropped for both teams. So under normal circumstances, a point would be enough for me as far as the group's concerned in this game tonight. But as far as Ollie's concerned, he could do without any more negativity. It will be seen as a poor result if we draw. As I say, as far as the group's concerned, it won't matter one bit. I'm sure it wouldn't. but it won't be good enough. They do need to win. So don't forget, by the way, it's a 5:55 kickoff tonight. It's not 8 o'clock. Some people might still be thinking it's an 8 o'clock game tonight, but it's the game that's kicking off at 5 to 6 this evening. So I did. I don't know if anybody or whoever did see it. If you enjoyed the show where I did the show yesterday called Ricky's Dream Team, I did the show where I picked a team that I would like to see play tonight, and I'd like to see it play at least once, to be honest, not just once, but maybe a few times. So have a look at that, Ricky's Dream Team. We put it up yesterday. But the Manchester Evening News have put the team out there. I like to read the Manchester Evening News predictions, because you do think, obviously with it being the Manchester-based paper, that they do have links to United and they do get some information. I always look at it. They don't always get it right, but they've given their prediction for the lineup tonight, and I've got it here. They think that Henderson's going to get a game in goal. They've said Williams is going to get a game at right back, and Axel Tuanzebe at centre back alongside Lindelof, with Shaw at left back. They've put it in 4-4-2, which is what I want to see. It's dangerously close to the team that I actually said I would like to see, but being dangerously close isn't quite good enough. Football seems like a jigsaw puzzle to me, and each player's got to fit. So the team that I put up on the Ricky's Dream Team video yesterday, each and every player has got specific jobs, and also have been selected because they will link well with the players that are close to them in their particular area of the pitch. So even if Ollie does go with this team, and it is quite close to the team that I'd like, being quite close doesn't cut the mustard for me. I want it to be, as I said, so you can have a look at that on Ricky's Dream Team. But here goes the midfield four that he's gone with, is that the Manchester Evening News have gone with, I should say, is Juan Mata, Fred, Matic, and wide on the left, Marcus Rashford. They've got Van der Beek in at number 10, and they've got Anthony Martial in the team at number 9. Obviously, I expect Martial to play. He's not played in the last 3 league games with being suspended, so obviously he does need a game before the Everton game at the weekend. The Everton game at the weekend is absolutely massive. The Evening News, obviously, as much as I've said, he will want the 3 points tonight. He won't want any negativity. It will be regarded as negative, even though it's not the end of the world one bit if they draw tonight. So if he gets a negative result tonight, it'll be really, to be honest, it could be a bit of a disaster for him. It will put so much pressure on him for the Everton game. But the Everton game is even more vital. The situation in the table, the lowest amount of points, 7 points from 6 games that they've had. I can't remember what the figure was, but for donkey's years since they started, and only got 7 points from the first 6 games. That's got to improve. A win at Goodison Park at weekend is absolutely of paramount importance. A draw's no good. It doesn't do it. There's no point being on 8 points after 7 games going into the international break. If ever there was a must-win game, Ollie must win this game at Goodison Park at the weekend. Hence, the Manchester Evening News have said the team that they've selected, they think there will be players rested. To be honest, I think the team that they've selected is at least as strong as the team that he plays anyway. So it sometimes makes me laugh the way people see it. Get all the best players, keep the rest of the best players, and then they name some of the players who, in my opinion, are not the best players. Some of the best players might, if that's the team that he names, I'd have Juan Mata in my team every day of the week. I'd have Nemanja Matic in my team every day of the week. They're the best players. And yet the Manchester Evening News are probably suggesting they're playing, or they expect those players to play in order to rest the best players, as they call it. Well, for me, they're amongst the best players. So the game at Goodison, being of such importance, does make it a tad easier for Ollie to say to certain players, look, this is such an important game at the weekend. It really is a massive game for us at the weekend that I'm going to give you a rest tonight to keep you fit for the Everton game. So that could easily lead to him making these changes that the Evening News have mentioned, just because it is a touch easier for him to leave. Like I've noticed, they haven't got Bruno in that lineup. Obviously, he rarely leaves Bruno out. He loves Bruno, I know that. Bruno's one of his signings. Bruno will definitely play at Goodison. I'd be shocked if he didn't. So maybe they've got a point. It does make it a touch easier for Ollie to put an arm around his shoulder and say, listen, Bruno, the last thing I want to happen is have you injured before this big game at the weekend, so I'm going to give you a rest tonight. So the team that they've mentioned, I'll go through it again. Henderson in goal, Williams at right back, Shaw at left back, Axel and Lindelof, the two centre-backs, Mata, Fred, Matic and Rashi across the midfield, with Van der Beek at number 10 and Anthony Marshall at number 9. Pretty close to what I'd select, but not quite there. Not what I'd like to see anyway. I looked at the results last night, and I've been looking at the groups, and most of the groups are actually taking shape now, and already, even though some of the groups are only 2 games in, some of them are 3 games in, you've already got Bayern, City and Liverpool on 9 points each. United, obviously we're looking at our 6 points and saying that's us virtually through, as I've just said, even a draw tonight won't be the end of the world. I'm sure Barcelona are looking at it in the same manner. They've got 6 points out of 6. So you've got Bayern, City and Liverpool on 9 points. United and Barcelona are on maximum points. So you can see how it's taking shape with the big guns already right at the top. So it's going to be a really, really competitive competition when it comes out, if all these teams get through, which I think they will. Even Group E with Chelsea and our old nemesis Sevilla. They've got 4 points each, but then they're in with Krasnodar and Rennes, who have only got 1 point each. And Krasnodar and Rennes have taken that point from each other. So Chelsea and Sevilla, even though they've only got 4 points after 2 games, I'm pretty certain, they're well on the way to qualifying as well. So if you put Chelsea and Sevilla into that draw with Bayern, City, Liverpool, United, Barcelona, it's looking like it's going to be a fantastic tournament when it comes to the knockout stages. There is another, our group was regarded as the group of death. There is another group of death as far as I'm concerned. There's a group of death with Borussia Mönchengladbach, Real Madrid, Inter Milan and Shakhtar Donetsk. In that group, Mönchengladbach they've played 3 games each now in that group. Mönchengladbach have got 5 points, Shakhtar 4 points, Real Madrid 4 points. You'd expect Real to come through it in the end and join all the big guns, but it is a tough group. Real have lost at home unbelievably to Shakhtar. Did they draw? Yes, they did. They got beat by Shakhtar at home, so they've got 4 points out of 3 games. This group has got 3 games gone already. So Mönchengladbach 5 points, Shakhtar 4 points, Real Madrid 4 points, and even Inter Milan. Inter Milan have only got 2 points, but when they gathered together so tightly there, for example, the 2 points behind Real and 2 points behind Shakhtar, even if Inter could put 2 wins together, I think they'd be right back in the race. So that's a proper tough group, that. And I fancy Real will come through in the end. They generally do, but that's a real group of death. So we'll look forward to seeing what happens in that group and see if all the big teams get through to the knockout stages. Obviously, the fewer that do, the more chance United have got winning it if they do get through. But I'm afraid I don't think there's going to be any shocks, unless just maybe Real Madrid might not do it in the end. So that's it for today. It's, as I say, massive game, 5 to 6 kickoff. Important game for Ollie. Not such a massive game for the club really, but it's a massive game for Ollie. I think the pressure on him, if he doesn't actually win this game, will be unbelievable, and it's all if it isn't already unbelievable pressure leading up to the game at Goodison this weekend. That will become, I'm sure, if they don't win tonight, if it isn't already, if United don't win tonight, that will become an absolute must win game at the weekend at Goodison. So only a short show this morning. Big game tonight, looking forward to it. Come on United.